directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to refund 210 trillion naira to the Federation account after rejecting its explanations over the unaccounted funds. The decision followed the failure of NNPCL's Group Chief Executive Officer Bayo Ojulari to appear before the Senate Committee on Public Accounts for clarification. Committee Chairman Senator Aliyu Wadada said the company's responses to 19 audit queries were contradictory and failed to justify 103 trillion naira in incurred expenses and 107 trillion naira in receivables. He questioned how the firm could claim to have spent 103 trillion naira on joint venture cash calls in 2023, despite generating only 24 trillion naira between 2017 and 2022. The committee insisted the figures were unjustifiable and vowed to conclude its probe once the NNPCL appears before it. And live from Lagos, Busayomi Gbadegesin, a lawyer, joins us virtually for some perspective to this story. Good evening. Good evening, Busayomi. Can you tell us what... I apologize if I got your name wrong.
Very well, very well.
Can you tell us what the implications of the Senate's rejection of the NNPCL's explanations and how will it affect the company's operations and accountability moving forward?
Well, it doesn't really affect the company's operation, but it's the management, because by implication for them, I think that's the Auditor General that had issues with the account of the NNPCL management. However, the management calling on the NNPC, the National Assembly calling on the NNPC management to come forward to clarify whatever discrepancy is in whatever, they tendered as the account of the company, or yes, because it's now a limited company, it's limited liability company. So the companies first and any accounts they did. So by implication, the National Assembly has right, to call out on the management to, get any clarification on any discrepancy that may be that shows up in whatever account and in whatever accounting it did. Thank you.
So, Busayomi, they talked about the generating of 24 trillion between 2017 and 2022. They also talked about receivables of over 107 trillion, and then they talked about expenses. So, what specific areas of NNPC's financial records are being scrutinized, and what are the concerns exactly from the Senate committee?
Yes, I think what they have focused on was the former management of the NNPCL, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the former management, and the discrepancies are just, after the Auditor General did its auditing, and there were a lot of discrepancies in whatever they tendered. I think it is just right they call out on them, and this is because they are new. And, there are a lot of issues with the subsidies, even before subsidies were, removed by the present government. Now, a lot of, inputs and subsidies claim that were not even in existence, and this is just something of a lot of concerns, because every of their tenders are inexistent. And this is why the National Assembly has to call on them to come and say, okay, what exactly is going on? This and this do not align.
Right.
So I think that, yes, so that is why it's the part of concerns to them is the former management and how the funds, which is public funds, were managed.
Okay, so let's say, you know, this conversation is concerning the former management, but of course it's NNPCs that is involved. So how should they plan to address, you know, the concerns of the Senate, and also how can they provide more transparency on the unaccounted 210 trillion naira?
Well, thank you. It is the responsibility of the NNPCL former management to attend to any queries that is brought before them by the National Assembly, because it is part of their you know, oversight function. That is investigation into the management and the, you know, expenditures and the expenses of the public fund. And even though the NNPCL is not now a limited liability company, it is still a public, you know, it's a federal company. And so, yes, so the National Assembly has rights under Section 88 and 89 of the Constitution. It empowers the National Assemblies to call, you know, on any discrepancy that is given in any auditing, that is the spending or the how the national, you know, budget and how the national funds is spent.
Right.
So for the fact that the National Assembly had called on them, it is their responsibility to, you know, attend to all the summons.
Right.
Yes.
So
it is.
Yeah, so I
Yes,
understand your explanation, Busayomi. So can you tell us what the legal consequences will be for NNPC if they fail to provide, you know, satisfactory explanations for the missing fund?
Yes. Consequently, if the National Assembly calls on them and they fail to, you know, answer to the call, the National Assembly has, you know, they have options. They can even summon, they can either summon them. This is, you know, legally summoned. That's by using the apple of the police force.
Yeah.
They can call for their arrest. And even if they've done all this and you know, they are still evasive, they can refer the matter to the EFCC to prosecute the matter.
Right.
And what they can only do is to work with what they have already. So it will not be their fault to work on whatever they have if the management or the former management of NNPC fail to, you know, come and explain all the discrepancies that are you know, put to them. So they can either call for their arrest, they can call for subpoena. That's forceful invitation and forceful summon to be present at whatever, you know, hearing they are called to. So they can either subpoena them, they summon them, or if they can also refer, you know, the case, that is the case of misappropriation of public fund, to EFCC, and that is prosecution. Once EFCC is involved, they are trying to investigate into the matter, but the you know, NNPCL management or former management were not being helpful and were not being responsive. So they can send the matter to, you know, the EFCC to probe and to prosecute the matter.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much,
Yes.
Busayomi, for giving us an insight to this in a nutshell. So basically, we should be expecting, hopefully, some level of transparency so that they don't attract legal consequences. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you.